The snow falls silent over Moscow, but beneath its white blanket lies a truth soaked in blood. In the winter of 1581, a father's rage became a son's death sentence, and the throne of Russia trembled under the weight of a single, unforgivable blow. This is not a tale of war or rebellion. This is the story of how Ivan the Terrible murdered his own heir, and how that moment of madness changed the fate of an empire forever. The Kremlin stands like a fortress of stone and ice, its walls darkened by centuries of winter and war. Inside the palace, fires burn in iron braziers, casting flickering shadows across tapestries stained with soot and time. The air smells of wood smoke, candle wax, and the faint metallic scent of fear that clings to every corner of Ivan IV's domain. He is Tsar of all Russia, a man whose name alone can silence a room, whose temper has turned boyars into corpses and cities into ash. His beard is streaked with gray, his eyes hollow and burning with paranoia, his hands never far from the iron-tipped staff he carries like a scepter of violence. He paces the halls like a caged wolf, suspicious of every shadow, every whisper, every face that dares meet his gaze. His son, Ivan Ivanovich, is everything the Tsar is not. At 27 years old, the Tsarevich is lean and strong, with dark hair that falls to his shoulders and a face marked by intelligence and quiet defiance. He wears a long kaftan of deep crimson trimmed with fur, his boots polished and practical, his posture upright despite the weight of his father's madness pressing down on him daily. He has learned to navigate the palace like a man walking through fire, careful not to provoke the beast but unwilling to bow completely. He is beloved by the people, respected by the military commanders, and seen by many as the hope of Russia's future. But in the eyes of his father, he is a rival, a threat, a mirror reflecting everything Ivan fears about his own fading power. The tension between them has been building for months. The Tsarevich has criticized his father's endless wars, questioned his brutal purges, and dared to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ivan the Terrible sees treason in every disagreement, betrayal in every suggestion. The palace has become a place where silence is survival, where even family ties are threads too fragile to hold against the weight of suspicion. On this day, in November 1581, the thread finally snaps. The Tsarevich enters his father's private chamber, unaware that he is walking into his own execution. The room is dim, lit only by a single window filtering pale winter light and the glow of a hearth burning low. Ivan the Terrible sits hunched in his chair, his staff resting across his knees, his eyes fixed on nothing. The Tsarevich speaks calmly, respectfully, about the war in Livonia, about the suffering of the people, about the need for peace. His words are measured, his tone careful, but in the mind of the Tsar, every syllable sounds like rebellion. The argument escalates in seconds. Ivan the Terrible rises to his feet, his face flushed with rage, his voice a roar that shakes the stone walls. He accuses his son of disloyalty, of conspiring with boyars, of plotting to seize the throne. The Tsarevich denies it, his voice rising not in fear but in frustration in the desperate need to be heard by a father who has long since stopped listening. The air between them crackles with violence, with years of unspoken resentment and buried fury. And then, in a single moment of blind, volcanic rage, Ivan the Terrible lifts his iron-tipped staff and swings. The blow strikes the Tsarevich on the temple, a sickening crack that echoes through the chamber like the breaking of bone. The young prince staggers, his hand flying to his head, blood immediately streaming between his fingers and down his face. His eyes widen in shock, not from the pain but from the realization of what has just happened. His father, the Tsar of Russia, has struck him down. He tries to speak, but his legs buckle, and he collapses to the stone floor, his crimson kaftan darkening further with the blood pooling beneath his head. Ivan the Terrible drops the staff as though it has burned him. The rage drains from his face in an instant, replaced by horror so complete it transforms him into something unrecognizable. He falls to his knees beside his son, his hands trembling as he reaches out to touch the wound, to stop the bleeding, to undo what cannot be undone. He cradles the Tsarevich's head in his lap, his fingers smearing through blood and matted hair, his voice breaking into a wail that sounds more animal than human. He rocks back and forth, sobbing, begging God and his son for forgiveness, his tears mixing with the blood on the floor. The Tsarevich's breathing is shallow, labored, each breath a wet rattle in his chest. His eyes, still open, stare upward at the vaulted ceiling, unfocused and dimming. He does not speak. He does not curse his father or cry out in pain. He simply lies there, bleeding, his life draining away onto the cold stone while his father weeps and begs and tries desperately to press the wound closed with his bare hands. The firelight flickers, casting long shadows that seem to reach out like accusers, like witnesses to a crime that can never be forgiven. For 3 days, the Tsarevich lingers between life and death. Physicians are summoned, prayers are offered, holy relics are brought to his bedside, but nothing can heal the damage done. Ivan the Terrible refuses to leave his son's side, sitting vigil like a broken man, his hair unkempt, his face hollow with grief and madness. He whispers apologies into the darkness, clutches his son's hand, and stares at the pale face that grows colder with each passing hour. The palace is silent, holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable. On the 4th day, the Tsarevich dies. The snow outside falls heavier, blanketing Moscow in white, muffling the bells that toll across the city. Ivan the Terrible does not rise from his son's body. He lies across the chest of the heir he killed, his sobs echoing through the palace halls, a king reduced to a father who has destroyed his own bloodline. The court stands frozen, unsure whether to grieve or to flee, knowing that the future of Russia has just bled out onto the floor of the Kremlin. The funeral is held in the Cathedral of the Archangel, a towering structure of gold domes and stone arches, where the bodies of grand princes and Tsars are laid to rest. The Tsarevich is dressed in white burial robes, his face pale and still, the wound on his temple cleaned and hidden beneath a cloth of silk. Ivan the Terrible walks behind the coffin, his face a mask of anguish, his body bent as though carrying the weight of the world. The people of Moscow line the streets in silence, their faces etched with sorrow and fear, for they know that with the death of the Tsarevich, Russia's hope has died as well. Ivan the Terrible never recovers. He spends the remaining years of his life haunted by the ghost of his son, waking in the night to the sound of phantom cries, seeing blood on his hands even when they are clean. He commissions paintings of the Tsarevich, builds churches in his name, and begs the priests to pray for his soul, but nothing can wash away the guilt. The Tsar, who once ruled with an iron fist, becomes a hollow shell, a man consumed by regret and madness, his empire crumbling around him as he mourns the son he murdered. The death of Ivan Ivanovich did more than end a life. It ended a dynasty. With no strong heir to succeed him, Russia fell into a period known as the Time of Troubles, a decades-long spiral of chaos, famine, and civil war. The throne passed to weaker hands, pretenders rose and fell, and the people suffered under the weight of a power vacuum that might never have existed if a father had not let his rage become a weapon. History remembers Ivan the Terrible as a tyrant, a madman, a ruler who built an empire on fear. But perhaps his greatest crime was not the thousands he killed in his purges, but the one death that broke him completely. The snow continues to fall over Moscow, covering the stones of the Kremlin, burying the bloodstains that no amount of winter can truly erase. The past doesn't forgive. It only watches, silent and cold, as we repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Power is a poison, and rage is a blade that always cuts deepest into the hand that holds it. If this story made you think, don't look away. Like, share, and subscribe for more dark truths buried beneath history's blood-stained pages, because the past isn't dead,